Welcome to the Monterey Bay Aquarium's HRA Refresher course. During this presentation, I will walk you through what an HRA is, how to use your debit card, what to say when talking to providers, and how to view and manage your claims online. Here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, we offer an HRA, a health reimbursement account. An HRA is an account that is an IRS-approved, employer-funded health benefit plan. At the aquarium, this HRA plan is offered through Blue Shield of California. Blue Shield of California works with Health Equity to administer the HRA plan. Let's talk about employer funding. Every January, the Monterey Bay Aquarium will fund employee accounts. Please note that new hires hired after January of each year will be provided funding using a prorated funding policy. Funding is provided based on an employee's enrollment in the plan. For 2018, the Monterey Bay Aquarium offers two HRA options. The Value HRA provides employees $1,000 in annual funding when enrolled as employee only, $2,000 in annual funding when enrolled as employee plus one or family. The second option is the Core HRA, which provides $1,800 in annual funding for employees enrolled as employee only, and $3,400 in funding for employees enrolled as employee plus one or family. Funding is deposited directly into participating employees' health equity accounts. The funding provided by the Monterey Bay Aquarium is used to pay first dollar costs for medical and pharmacy expenses and claims. This will pay down your annual deductible under the Blue Shield medical plan selected. Let's look at an example of funding and cost exposure for in-network providers under the Value $1,500 plan when enrolled as employee only. The first step is an annual deductible. Under this plan, that deductible is $1,500. The Monterey Bay Aquarium will fund $1,000 of that $1,500. That leaves a $500 member responsibility towards the annual deductible. After the annual deductible has been met, you move on to step 2, which is coinsurance. Under this plan, the member's responsibility is 10% of all costs incurred. You will continue to pay 10% after that annual deductible until you hit step 3, which is the annual out-of-pocket maximum. Under this plan, an employee enrolled as employee only has a $3,000 annual maximum out-of-pocket. Remember, the Monterey Bay Aquarium is funding $1,000. That leaves a total responsibility to a member of $2,000. That is the most an employee would pay when enrolled as employee only under this plan. Here is another funding and cost exposure using in-network providers under the Value $1,500 plan when an employee is enrolled as employee plus one or family. When enrolled as employee plus one or family, there is a $3,000 annual deductible. The Monterey Bay Aquarium will fund $2,000 of that annual deductible, leaving the member responsibility at $1,000 towards deductible. After that annual deductible has been met, you will move on to step 2, which is coinsurance. Coinsurance under this plan is 10%, so the member would be responsible for 10% of all costs incurred, up until step 3, the annual out-of-pocket maximum. Under this plan, the annual out-of-pocket maximum is $6,000. Remember, Monterey Bay Aquarium is funding $2,000. So the total member responsibility under this plan is $4,000. That means that a member would pay no more than $4,000 in a calendar year for services received. When choosing the core $2,700 plan, funding and cost exposure in network with someone enrolled as employee only would look like this. First step is the annual deductible of $2,700. Monterey Bay Aquarium will fund $1,800 of that, leaving the member responsibility at $900. Once the annual deductible has been met, the member would go on to step 2, which is coinsurance. The member under this plan would pay 20% of all costs incurred until step 3 is met, which is the annual out-of-pocket maximum. Under this plan, a member enrolled as employee only has a $5,000 annual out-of-pocket maximum. Remember, the Monterey Bay Aquarium is funding $1,800 of those dollars, leaving the total responsibility of the member at $3,200. That means the most any member would pay when enrolled as employee only under the plan is $3,200. Again, looking at the core $2,700 plan for funding and cost exposure utilizing in-network providers, this is an example of an employee plus one or family. Under this plan, there is a $5,200 when enrolled as employee plus one or family. The Monterey Bay Aquarium will fund $3,400 of that $5,200. That leaves a member responsibility of $1,800. Once the annual deductible has been met, the member would go to step 2, which is coinsurance. Under this plan, the coinsurance is 20% after the annual deductible, meaning the member is responsible for 20% of all costs incurred under the plan until they hit step 3, the annual out-of-pocket maximum. When enrolled as employee plus one or family under this plan, the annual out-of-pocket maximum is $10,000. The Monterey Bay Aquarium is funding $3,400 of that, leaving the total responsibility of the member at $6,400. Again, this means that a member would be responsible for no more than $6,400 in a calendar year. Real-world examples are always helpful when learning to understand how a plan works. In this example, we will show an employee-only enrolled in the Value $1,500 plan and assume that this member is utilizing in-network services. If you remember, this plan has a $1,500 deductible with a $3,000 annual out-of-pocket maximum. The first service received by this member is for preventive care. There is no charge when utilizing preventive care services. That means after that visit, this member still has $1,500 needing to be met in deductible, $3,000 needing to be met in annual out-of-pocket, and a full $1,000 HRA balance. The next service is for a prescription that costs $100. That prescription can be paid for with HRA funds. That $100 will be applied towards deductible. That leaves $1,400 left, still needing to be met in deductible, $2,900 still needing to be met in annual out-of-pocket, and the member has $900 still available to use in their HRA account. The next service is for an MRI. The charge for that MRI is $1,000. The member would pay for those services with their HRA balance. Since the balance is $900, the member would pay that first $900 with those funds, and then pay the remaining $100 balance with their personal funds or any money that they've pre-allotted to an FSA account. After the payment, you'll see that we have $400 still needing to be met in deductible for this member, $1,900 still needing to be met in out-of-pocket. The next service is for a prescription that costs $30. That $30 will be applied towards deductible. Those $30 will be paid for by the employee with their personal funds or FSA account. This leaves a $370 amount needing to be paid towards deductible, $1,870 still needing to be paid towards out-of-pocket. The next service is for an office visit. The charge for that visit is $370. That $370 is applicable towards deductible. The employee would pay that amount with their personal funds or their FSA card. After that payment, you'll see deductible has been reached. The member now has $1,500 left to pay towards the annual out-of-pocket maximum. The next service is for an ER visit with a cost of $1,000. Since we have met deductible, services are now billed in the coinsurance. That means 10% of $1,000 is $100. The member would pay that $100 with their personal funds or FSA account. You'll see that the annual out-of-pocket is now down to $1,400 needing to be met. The final service is for a surgery with a charge of $20,000. Since we are now in the coinsurance phase of the benefits, 10% of $20,000 is $2,000. However, this member has only $1,400 still needing to be met in annual out-of-pocket. Therefore, they will pay the lower amount and now have satisfied the annual out-of-pocket maximum of $3,000. That means that all services received for the remainder of the calendar year will be paid at 100% by the carrier. Here is an example of an employee plus one or family enrolled in the core $2,700 plan. Again, we will assume that the member is utilizing in-network services. Remember, under this plan, there is a $5,200 annual family deductible and a $10,000 annual family out-of-pocket maximum. The first service received for this family is for preventive care services. Again, there is no charge for preventive care services. Therefore, the member still has $5,200 in deductible to be met, $10,000 in annual out-of-pocket to be met, but they still have a full $3,400 balance in their HRA account. This family picks up a prescription for $100. That prescription is applied towards deductible and paid for with HRA funds. That leaves $5,100 still in deductible, $9,900 still needing to be met in annual out-of-pocket, and the member has $3,300 still in their HRA account. The next service is an MRI with a cost of $1,000. That $1,000 is applied towards deductible and paid for with HRA funds. This family now has $4,100 still needing to be met in deductible, $8,900 still needing to be met in annual out-of-pocket, and $2,300 available balance in the HRA account. The next service is for a prescription that costs $30. That $30 is applied towards deductible and paid for with HRA funds. This family now has an annual deductible still needing to be met of $4,070, annual out-of-pocket still needing to be met $8,870, and an available HRA balance of $2,270. The next service is for an office visit with a cost of $370. That $370 will be applied towards deductible and paid for with HRA funds. This family now has $3,700 still needing to be met in annual deductible, $8,500 still needing to be met in out-of-pocket, and $1,900 in the HRA account. The next service is for an ER visit with a cost of $1,000. That $1,000 will be applied towards deductible and paid for with HRA funds. That leaves a $2,700 deductible still needing to be met, $7,500 still needing to be met in out-of-pocket, and $900 available in their HRA account. The final service is for a surgery with an incurred cost of $50,000. Now it gets a little tricky here. So $2,700 will be applied towards deductible. Then coinsurance would be $8,000. That means there's a total of $10,700 to be paid. But remember, we have an out-of-pocket maximum left of just $7,500. So the member will pay $900 with the remaining HRA funds and $6,600 with their personal funds or FSA account. That takes them to the maximum out-of-pocket of $10,000, and all services received at this point on for the remainder of the calendar year will be paid for by the carrier at 100%. Let's talk about how providers are paid. Your HRA account is set up to auto-pay. This is also known as full integration. Full integration takes place when you utilize contracted network providers. When you have this feature, you will see a contracted provider, and that provider will submit the qualified claim directly to Blue Shield. Blue Shield then automatically submits that claim to Health Equity. Your qualified medical expense will then be paid directly from your available HRA balance. There is no need to pay for these visits at the time of service. Below is a timeline to give you an idea of how the claim is processed. The member first visits the provider. The provider then submits the claim to Blue Shield. Blue Shield processes that claim and sends a copy of it to the provider and to Health Equity. Sometimes you may receive a bill from the provider after Blue Shield processes the claim and before Health Equity receives it and sends out payment. If you do receive a bill during that time period, please don't pay it. Put it aside and follow up when you check online with your Health Equity account in a couple of weeks. It's important to know how to talk to your doctor about your HRA plan and what to say if your provider is asking for payment. When members obtain services from contracted Blue Shield PPO providers, the provider will typically verify coverage either by viewing your member ID card or by contacting Blue Shield directly. Once your coverage has been verified, the provider may or may not ask for some sort of payment. If the provider has experience with your HRA plan, then they are aware of the claim submittal process. If the provider is not familiar with your plan, then they're probably not familiar with the claim submittal process. And in this case, it is best to be patient and spend a little time educating them. The above flowchart is a good example that you can share with that provider to educate them on how your HRA plan works. Let's talk about prescriptions. When you enroll in the Monterey Bay Aquarium HRA plan, you will receive a Health Equity Visa debit card. This debit card is only to be used when you are paying for prescriptions, assuming you have funds available in your HRA account. Let's talk about your Health Equity account. When you enroll in the Monterey Bay Aquarium HRA plan, it is important to make sure that you register at the Health Equity website. It is here at this website where you can view your account balance, view pending and paid claims, and reimburse yourself if you have paid for a prescription due to forgetting your Health Equity debit card. By making sure you register at the Blue Shield of California site, as well as the Health Equity site, your user experience on the Blue Shield of California site becomes combined. From here, you can view all claims that have been sent to Health Equity. You can use the sort feature on the left to limit your claims. Simply log into blueshieldofcalifornia.com, go to Claims and Payments, down to View Claims. Once you are in the View Claims area, it is here where the details of each individual claim can be found. You can see the doctor's name, who the patient was, the dollar amount billed, how much the patient is responsible for. This is the amount that Health Equities will make the check and payment out to the provider, assuming there are funds in your HRA account. When inside your Blue Shield of California Health Equity account, you can look at reimbursement details. Simply be logged into Blue Shield of California, My Account, HRA, Account Detail. This is a summary page of all claims that occurred for the current year. If you have been enrolled in the HRA for multiple years, you can use the down arrow and see a summary of each year's claims and how much of your HRA you have used each year. Let's take a look at some Blue Shield tools designed to help you maximize your HRA dollars. The first tool provided by Blue Shield of California, designed to help you maximize your HRA dollars, is the drug pricing tool. This tool will compare drug prices from up to 5 pharmacies of your choice. Simply log in to blueshieldcalifornia.com. Follow these steps from the menu bar when logged in. Go to Claims, drop down to Pharmacy Claims, then leave Blue Shield and go to Price a Drug. On the next screen is where you'll actually run the search for the medication you're looking for. On Step 1, you'll type in the name of the drug. Step 2, you'll actually choose the 5 pharmacies near you that you want to compare pricing. Step 3, you'll input the quantity and day supply. Step 4 is go ahead and price. The calculation results will then come up as seen on the right-hand side of this slide. You'll see the medication, pharmacy, member cost, generic cost, and potential savings available to you. This tool is a great resource which allows you to maximize your HRA dollars by purchasing your medication at the pharmacy with the least expense. The next tool available to you from Blue Shield of California is the Treatment Cost Estimator. This tool, again, will help you maximize your HRA dollars. Blue Shield has put together a video showing how to navigate this tool on their website. You can follow the link here to watch that video. On the next few slides, we will highlight that video. The first step will be to log into your Blue Shield of California account. Once you're logged in to your Blue Shield account, you'll click on Treatment Cost Estimator. From there, you will type in the name of the procedure you're looking to research. Let's pretend it's for knee surgery for the ACL. Begin typing knee under Get Estimates for Healthcare Costs. The system will show a drop-down menu as you begin typing in that box. As you type in knee, you will see ACL repair comes up in the drop-down menu. Go ahead and select that option. If you prefer, you do not need to type anything in the Get Estimates for Healthcare Costs section of the page. Simply click Browse Medical Conditions. The page will then change and populate with the different categories of medical conditions. From there, select the category that applies to what you are looking for. In this instance, we are looking up knee surgery for ACL. So we will begin under the category Knee and Leg Conditions. Once you have selected the condition you are looking for, locate the procedure. In this case, we chose knee and leg conditions, and now see ACL repair, which is the procedure we are looking for estimated pricing. The system will then show you a listing of estimated pricing by provider. From there, you can compare, sort, and learn about the procedure you're looking up. We hope this presentation was able to give you some insight on how to use your HRA plan here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. We feel it's important for employees to understand how their medical plan works, and if you have further questions, we're happy to answer those for you. We appreciate you, and we want to make sure you're taking advantage of all the benefits available to you here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.